My aunt was measuring my grandmother's living room for new hardwood floors, while the hearse was literally still parked on the street. We hadn't even finished the post-funeral sandwiches when the vultures descended. Aunt Susan and Uncle Dave were standing in the kitchen, loudly debating whether to list the house as is or flip it for a higher profit. I was sitting quietly on the floral sofa in my black suit, just trying to process that my grandmother was actually gone. It didn't take long for their argument to escalate. Dave insisted that as the oldest son, he should be the sole executor and get the largest cut. Susan snapped back that she deserved it more because she needed the equity for her daughter's out-of-state tuition. To officially mark her territory, Susan pulled a pack of neon pink post-it notes from her purse and started sticking them on everything she wanted to claim. The flat-screen TV, the silver tea set. Then, Dave walked over to me, holding out his hand. "Give me the key to her safe," he demanded. "We need to find the deed to the house before probate freezes everything." I looked at the bright pink sticky note Susan had just slapped right onto my grandmother's antique grandfather clock. I stood up and pulled the small brass key from my pocket. "You really don't want to do this right now," I warned them. "Stop being so dramatic," Susan scoffed, snatching the key right out of my hand. "We have to be practical." They practically sprinted into the master bedroom and yanked open the heavy metal lockbox from the back of the closet. Dave pulled out a thick manila folder labeled House Documents. He wore this greedy, satisfied smirk, fully expecting to find a deed handing them a $600,000 property. Instead, his face went completely pale as he read the first page. "What is this?" he muttered. "It wasn't a will. It was a standard residential lease agreement. 3 years ago, when my grandmother's health sharply declined, she desperately needed round-the-clock nurses. I had begged Susan and Dave to chip in, but they both suddenly claimed they were entirely broke and too busy to help. So I went to the bank. I bought the house from my grandmother at full market value so she could comfortably afford her medical care, and I let her live out her final years entirely rent-free. Susan and Dave just hadn't bothered to visit her enough in the last 3 years to realize she didn't own the property anymore. The silence in that bedroom was absolute. I walked over to the grandfather clock, peeled off Susan's neon pink sticky note, and crumpled it up. "You're standing in my house," I told them, "and the reception is over."